Welcome everyone to our Living Earth Endangered Species project. Today we're going to be putting the spotlight on a gentle giant, the whale shark, also known as Rhynchodon typus. It is currently listed as endangered on the IUCN's Red List. Let's dive into the story.
I've always wondered, are whale sharks whales or sharks?
That's a great question, Shreya. We can meet with some of my colleagues who are scientists and discuss.
Okay.
Hey, Jerky.
Hi.
My daughter Shreya had a question for you because you're a marine biologist.
So I was on my way to school and I was wondering, are whale sharks whales or sharks?
Great place to start, Shreya.
Despite the name, they are true sharks, in fact, the largest fish species in the world. Unlike whales, they lay eggs internally and give birth to live young. They belong to the class Chondrichthyes, which includes all cartilaginous fish.
And they're completely harmless to humans. Despite being over 40 feet long, all they eat is small fish and plankton.
They're part of a unique family called Rhynchodontidae, and their closest relatives include the megamouthed shark, Mangachasma pelagios, the basking shark, Cetorhinus maximus, and the nurse shark, Juliomastoma serratum. All of them have some traits in common: slow-moving, non-aggressive, and adapted to filter feeding.
Now we're with my colleague Arya. She's an ecologist. We're going to talk about where whale sharks live and what makes their habitats unique.
Hi Shreya, so whale sharks are found in tropical and warm temperate oceans worldwide. The habitat spans the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Ocean, but hotspots include the Gulf of Mexico, the Philippines, and Western Australia. These areas of warm water consist typically between 70 and 86 degrees Fahrenheit, and there are plenty of plankton there.
So basically whale sharks like warm weather and snacks.
Oh look, here's my friend Pearl. She's a wildlife conservationist and she can tell you more about whale shark migration.
So whale sharks migrate thousands of miles every year. One was tracked traveling from Panama to the Philippines. That's more than 8,000 miles.
So what do they eat? Do they harm?
Not in the way we think. Whale sharks are filter-feeding carnivores. This means that they open their mouths wide and swim forward, filtering plankton, fish eggs, small fish, and even clouds of krill through their specialized gill rakers. Now let's FaceTime my friend, Pragna.
Hey, Pragna.
Hey!
Can you tell us a little bit more about whale sharks' feeding patterns?
Well, their feeding is passive and efficient, and they can process hundreds of gallons of water an hour while barely moving. It puts them in the secondary consumer trophic level.
What are some of whale sharks' key adaptations that help them survive?
Well, there are a few, but let's start with the structural ones. Their wide, flat head and massive mouth allow them to gulp large volumes of water filled with food. Psychological adaptations include their spotted skin, which acts like camouflage, by mimicking light reflections in the water. Each whale shark has a unique pattern like a beard.
That's pretty cool. Speaking of breeding, what about whale shark reproduction?
They produce via oviviparity. This means the mother retains the eggs inside her until they hatch, then gives birth to live young. A female found off the coast of Taiwan had over 300 embryos inside.
However, little is known about their courtship or mating behavior, and the young receives no parental care, which makes their early survival even more difficult.
Hi, Pragna. We'll come visit you in a little bit.
Bye.
Hi, Pragna.
Hi! Welcome to the Environmentalist Research Center.
It's so pretty here. My daughter Shreya had some more questions about whale shark endangerment. Can you help us?
Yeah, sure. There are three big human threats which fall under HIPCO. O. Overfishing. Whale sharks are hunted for their fins, meat, and oil. P. Pollution. Plastic ingestion and oil spills hurt them directly. H. Climate change. Rising sea temperatures affect plankton distribution, which means less food for them.
Not to mention boat collisions. Since they swim near the surface, they're vulnerable to getting hit by large ships. Thank you so much for telling us that, Pragna. Do you have anything else you can show us?
Oh my gosh, I forgot. We have an educational video coming out about whale shark conservation. Do you guys want to watch it?
Absolutely.
Whale sharks are currently endangered, but conservation efforts are happening. In places like the Philippines and Australia, whale sharks are protected by law. There are guidelines for ecotourism that limit how close boats and swimmers can get.
These are examples of in situ conservation, which focuses on protecting the species in its natural environment. There's also tagging and satellite tracking to learn more about their behavior. However, keeping them in captivity or ex situ conservation rarely works.
Even with help, their populations are still shrinking. This is because whale sharks mature very slowly and live up to 70 to 100 years, but don't reproduce until their late 20s or 30s.
This slow life cycle means it takes decades for their numbers to recover.
Also, since they're highly migratory, protecting them requires international cooperation. One country's laws aren't enough.
But don't worry, there is still hope, if we act. Conservationists are seeing genetic diversity within the population, which is good for adaptation. But they still need stable food sources and safe migratory routes.
Unfortunately, if things don't change, the numbers will continue to fall. But if global warming slows and ocean protections increase, they might recover.
But if whale sharks vanish, plankton might overpopulate, leading to algal blooms that suffocate coral reefs and reduce biodiversity.
That ripple effect could eventually affect fish populations, which many coastal communities rely on. Losing the whale shark isn't just losing a species, it's losing a piece of ocean balance, a source of wonder and a sign of healthy marine ecosystems.
All we have to do is reduce plastic, support marine conservation, choose responsible ecotourism, and speak up for the oceans.
Be the voice for the whale sharks, because silence means extinction.
God, Pragna, that was such a great video. Thank you so much for showing us this.
I know, it was amazing. Me and Shreya both learned so much.
Thank you. So many people put so much effort into this to make such a good educational video.